Hey guys, it's Tarot and Beyond. In today's Pick a Card reading, we are focusing on a message regarding truth. I had two synchronicities, I think it was probably 3 or 4 weeks ago, that were regarding the truth. The first one I actually wrote down, the truth, King of Swords, harsh versus empathetic. It's kind of like the harsh truth versus the compassionate truth. I think we're going to get it, both perspectives here in this reading. And then the second confirmation was be prepared for the truth. And obviously this came out of a fortune cookie. So I've been sitting on this reading topic for a while and focusing or being called to focus on some of the readings on my other channel where Spirit brings through divine messages, the divine channel. And we were looking at a lot of synchronicities. The dragon card actually came up in one of the last readings. So I'm interested to see what messages come out here. You can select a group, you can watch all of them, you can watch in a particular order. Feel free to just follow your intuition and see what truths are meant to be revealed to you at this time. Timestamps are in the description box, or you can use the chapter notes to jump ahead, and we'll see you in your readings. All right, hi group number one, you chose the dragon. And this was the card that came up next to the cosmic egg in one of the recent readings on the divine channel. And it was really, really powerful. It was talking about the witnesser, the all-seeing eye, the energy of this witnesser, the watcher. It's with you at all times throughout your life. And sometimes when you look in the mirror, you'll see the witnesser behind your own eyes. It is the God presence. It is omniscient. And I'm feeling like this truth is something that you didn't see. Something that was staring you in the face is actually what I'm hearing. Okay, it was staring you in the face. It feels, because I just mentioned looking in the mirror, it feels like this is a truth about yourself. I'm hearing truth within yourself, and they're showing me a hidden pearl. It's glowing and emanating from within the chest cavity. So this could be connected to a pearl of wisdom, connected to love, your sense of self, your relationship with yourself. Okay, I haven't chosen any decks yet for this reading. They want me to go in with the Il Fuego deck for the harsh truth. Okay, this is one of my harsher decks, so that makes sense. And I do tend to use it when things are a little bit kind of iffy. So let's get that harsh truth message. Harsh truth message for group number one. The Four of Wands. The Eight of Swords. You didn't see yourself. I keep seeing that. You didn't see yourself. The Knight of Pentacles. Bats have been a synchronicity that's been coming up a lot too. And the Six of Pentacles. Okay. Yeah, I definitely still get this sense that there's a part of you that you didn't see. I'm hearing the word honor. Okay, there's a part of you that you didn't honor, most likely because you didn't see it. And it would show up symptomatically, the lack of seeing of the self anyway, would show up symptomatically in relationships where there was a tendency to self-sacrifice or overgive. Now, the reason that I'm saying that is because I'm seeing this bleeding hand here in the Six of Pentacles and the Eight of Swords. All of these swords are stabbing into the self. So I get this feeling that they're saying something about playing with fire. There's a lot of fire here, but specifically the Four of Wands jumping out to me. And the first thing I heard when I turned over this card was stoking the fire. So playing with fire, stoking the fire, what's the difference? Well, in one, you're building it up intentionally. And the other, it can kind of take on a life of its own or become too big to handle, and then you're playing with fire in the sense that it can burn you. So there's something about you putting energy into other people, but forgetting yourself. The Three of Cups reversed, definitely forgetting yourself, not celebrating yourself. I did see this card poking out, so let's grab it. The Seven of Swords reversed. you were taking from yourself to give to others. You were stealing from yourself. That's the harsh truth here, group number 1. Now, I don't know if this pattern is still going on, but this is what Spirit is wanting you to look at right now. If you're past this pattern, or you're aware of this and you're not doing this anymore, it's probably because you've gained awareness of yourself in a different way, as the observer rather than just as the experiencer. You can have both. So let's take a look at the empathic message, like the very loving. This would be like that King of Swords energy. King of Swords being like, I'm going to tell the truth, even if it's a bit blunt or harsh. And this one down here is going to be the compassionate truth, like the Queen of Cups. Okay. Very motherly. So what's the compassionate truth here? Justice. Ooh. You've been learning, I'm hearing trials and errors. You've been learning to balance these scales. The golden sword in her hand really standing out to me, and the fruits all around her. The fruits of your labors, the golden sword, the golden sword. What does that symbolize? What does that symbolize? I'm hearing pergola, and she's standing underneath like this sort of, that I don't know if that's what's called a pergola, but it's reminding me of the word purgatory. But you were busy doing something here. So it's not like you were just stuck in purgatory. You were like busy trying to figure out a way to weigh the scales up, to balance them, to make them equal, because they were very unequal before. I'm seeing that you said maybe later a lot of times. Maybe, I'll do that maybe later. Maybe later, maybe later. I don't know why that's coming through, but something about that. And the golden sword here speaks to me of like this golden crystallized truth. The objective truth is actually what Spirit just said. The objective truth. And the dragon is the witnesser. Objective judgment, but not judgment that comes from this, you're doing something wrong energy. It's more, this is just how it is. It's not right or wrong. And you're learning through it. There's value in that. I'm hearing deep and profound value in that. Okay. The 4 of Cups. Look at this mushroom crying underneath the toadstool, or look at this mushroom. Look at this fairy crying underneath the toadstool. I do feel that you felt that other people didn't honor or acknowledge you, that other people didn't see you, didn't include you. I'm hearing didn't include you. Maybe they said maybe later to you, if that's relevant. But I'm also seeing that the reason that you felt that you were unincluded or uninvited or unwanted was really because you were not seeing yourself, and you were saying that to yourself. You were putting yourself last, and then you were perceiving other people as putting you last as well. As within, so without. I did say that this row was going to be sort of mother energy, and here we have the Empress. And again, I'm hearing fruits of your labors, and they're pointing me to the bowl of fruit. So there's something here that it's not been for nothing. They said that. It's not been for nothing. What has not been for nothing? They said feeling your way through this and controlled fire. Fire elementally represents spirit. Other than ether, right? Spirit in the element of fire is more about inspiration, energy, action, passion. So I feel like you've had to hone that. And I see that it's taken you some tries, like several tries is what they just said, several tries to get this right. And what they want you to know is that that's not a bad thing. It was just the method to the equilibrium. There was a method to the outcome that you were seeking. and you had to find it. Maybe it was through a little bit of process of elimination, trying something, seeing it didn't work, and then trying something else, so that you could find self-love. I'm hearing no longer sacrifice, to no longer sacrifice yourself and your sacred lotus heart. Okay, they said what, knowing when to serve and when to hold back. And maybe there's a lot of guilt attached if you're the one now saying maybe later to people that are trying to get you to come out and do something for them. Can I get a clarifier on the Ace of Cups? I really don't need it, but I feel like I should get it. Why? The Hermit. Okay. That's why they wanted me to look at those two energies in combination, because the Ace of Cups to me felt pretty straightforward, but Spirit was like, no, you should get a clarifier on that. So the Ace of Cups and the Hermit here, talking about you having this solitary time to connect with yourself. This is really what did it, because this allows you to observe yourself uninhibited. It allows you to observe yourself without external stimulation or control or influence in any way. It allows you to really feel clearly and get to know yourself, the boundaries of yourself, where they begin, where they end, so that this mechanism of whether it was people pleasing or over giving or sacrificing the self or abandoning yourself or being too focused on other people and really kind of bypassing your own intuition, your own needs, whatever this is we're talking about here, it's okay. They just said it's warped caretaker energy. That's actually been coming a lot, synchronicity. They were showing me stuff to do with caretakers and taking care. And the shadow side of that is like the Empress in reverse here, one interpretation of it anyway, where it's the mother who has sacrificed everything and has nothing left to give. Barren fields, I'm hearing barren fields. Whereas in the upright, she's taking care of herself while she also creates. She creates life. She takes care of herself because she understands that that process needs to have balance. There needs to be an equal exchange of give and take for the system to work, for her health to flourish, for the people around her and herself to be in equal states. I'm hearing equal states. And that's the fruits of the labors right there. So it feels like you've either taken some time to yourself to identify these patterns, to feel into your truth, to observe yourself unequivocally. I just heard. Okay, cool. Yes, to observe yourself unequivocally. Or if you haven't done that yet and you're still in this pattern, then this is your clarion call to do so, to take some time to yourself. Now, that doesn't mean isolate. It means be intentional with your alone time, because in that alone time, you will know yourself more deeply than you've ever known anyone. And in my experience, this is true. Spirit had me go through like a trial by fire phase of 2 whole years where I was primarily alone. I would see people about once a month. And other than that, I was alone. I don't recommend it. Okay. I don't recommend it. This was very intensive. And it's just because it's the nature of my journey and the nature of the work that I have to do, that it required me to literally hermit myself like a hermit going up into a cave and talking to no one for months on end. Yes, don't recommend that for anyone but myself unless you feel called to do it. But even then, be very careful. What it taught me, though, and what I'm seeing here in your reading group number 1, is that it forced me to meet myself, all of the parts of myself. I couldn't hide from myself anymore because I couldn't distract myself with the outside world. I was forced to feel my feelings. I was forced to meet my mind. I was forced to look into all the dark crevices. And I really saw these parts of myself that had been hidden away, that I was ashamed of, there was guilt there was fear, there was also joy and playfulness. I met so many wonderful parts of myself and I combined them all. And I feel now that I know myself better than I ever have before. And there's always going to be more to learn. But guess what? We've got infinite amount of time to do that. You are the only relationship you're ever really, truly going to have. Now, let me clarify what I'm saying here. Everything is you. everything around you, every person you interact with, every situation, everything out in the outside world is you. And on top of that, the inside of you is really the most profound experience you'll ever have, because it's the one that you're experiencing subjectively. It's the relationship with you is literally the longest relationship you've ever had and will ever have. And if you've denied that, if you've rejected yourself, if you've abandoned yourself, if you've let yourself waste away, I just heard, that's very dramatic, but this is what Spirit's saying, and it's all symbolic, but if you've let yourself waste away in some regard, this is about reestablishing the relationship with you, stoking those fires again. Maybe the fire got dim. Maybe the last time you tried to stoke them, they got out of control. So you've had to learn how to handle the fire, how to handle the actions that you take. And I'm also seeing something about not coming from a reactive state. Like, for example, I'm bored, I'm going to seek out stimulation, or I'm feeling that I have these unmet needs, I'm going to externalize that and give to other people, I'm going to project that outward. You've had the time, or you will have the time, to be able to assess where the give and take was imbalanced, where you need more of something, why you need that, and who you are at this core level. And that's the foundation that Spirit is calling you to here, because this is how God sees you. You are God. You're not separate from that. It is within you. And the more that you see yourself, the more that you're tapping into these elevated states of consciousness that are God consciousness, the observer consciousness. So you start out with just the self, and then you move to the self observing the self, and then you move to the self observing the self, observing the self, and it just keeps replicating from there, and you end up with all of these different versions of self observing, and guess what happens from there? Then it all unites, and I've had this experience, it was bizarre, it all unites, and you see all perspectives at once, while also being aware that there's only one perspective. It's so crazy. If you've had that experience of unity consciousness, let me know. It's happened for me a couple of times, usually during intense meditations or these time alone, or in sensory deprivation. But it's accessible now a lot more easily to me than it ever was. And I feel like this is kind of what this truth is unlocking within you, group number one. Number one, there is only one, and it is you. Everyone else is real and exists. I gotta kind of like do a bit of a disclaimer here. I don't believe in the whole NPC, non-player character theory, that there's people out there that are not real. I know that there are automatons and stuff like that, but that's a whole other rabbit hole that I'm not gonna go down right now, okay? There are real people in the world. Everyone is real. Not everyone, but most people are real, okay? And they're also you. They're real souls, unique individual souls having that human experience, and they're also you, because we're all one thing. So I don't want to go off on this tangent for too long, but I'm just seeing, group number one, that you're understanding now better than you ever have before this fundamental truth. And if you haven't fully integrated it yet, you will. Give it time, is what they're saying. And if you have begun to integrate this, or maybe you're really far along this journey and you've integrated it fully and you're able to access that at will, because that's the goal here, then you'll understand the nature of the tree. The trunk is the unity, the branches above, the roots below, they mirror each other, and it's all one. As above, so below. But you are not the leaf or the branch or the stick or the root. You are the entire tree. Let's get some tea leaves to close out your reading. I'm just going to take this half of the deck and see if there's any final closing messages for group number one around this truth that they would like you to know. For group number one. Goldfish. increase in material wealth or spiritual growth. And I really feel like it is both, group number one, because we were talking about those fruits of the labors, and we're talking very, very clearly here about spiritual growth. This is really what your reading is about, spiritual growth. But guess what comes with that? Abundance. Why? Because you're in that frequency. You are able to match that frequency and grow your wealth as you expand your spiritual knowing. Your sense of self grows, your wealth, your frequency will match that. I'm seeing something about the goldfish also talking about forgetting, like goldfish, they say, have really short memories. You may have forgotten. I think part of this was that you couldn't see yourself because you forgot. You just forgot, and that's okay. Sometimes you just need a reminder. And if you need a reminder every 5 seconds, then spirit will do that for you. Okay, let me tell you, like, it's really easy to forget these fundamental truths of the law of one. When you're in I'm hearing rural. Okay, I didn't mean to say rural. When you're in a world that is really dominated by that 3D illusion and the projections and the external, it's very easy to forget. But spirit will remind you. Ask for that if you need it. It works. Pale. Time to get out of a situation. They're showing me somebody pale in the face right now, like a little shocked, seeing themselves in the mirror for the first time. But then this is what allows you to unlock this truth and get out of the situation so that you're not chasing the carrot anymore, like this coin on the hook. You're not chasing exterior material wealth. You're not chasing over validation by over giving to other people. You're not projecting anything on the outside world. You're able to really see and identify where there have been holes in the bucket. I know I can't see the bottom of the bucket here, but I'm seeing it have a hole in it clairvoyantly, and that 7 of Swords energy is like a leak energetically. So this may have shown up for you as not enough money, too much going out, not enough coming in, bare bones. Could be not enough nutrients in your body. The pale skin makes me think of iron deficiency. It could be anything, but it was a lack. And it was coming from this lack of awareness of the self. Okay, let's get something else here. We got February. Well, February has just passed at the time that I'm filming this reading. It's now March. But February may have been significant for an identification of this pattern. Or if you're watching this in a different month, or even year, because these are timeless readings, February could be significant here. I'm hearing look back. So for some of you that are watching it at the time this video comes out, they want you to reassess or look back at February and see where you shifted some kind of a pattern as it relates to spending or giving. Ooh, pig, beware of greed. Then it's interesting. Oh, this is kind of like the opposite message, right? But here's the thing. Maybe you're afraid of receiving because you feel that if you were to receive or to get as much as you give, you would feel greedy or you would be greedy. Or maybe you actually run the risk of swinging too far the other way, right? Because sometimes the pendulum will swing back and it will overcorrect. And maybe you go from lack, bare bones, to really gorging yourself. But that's just a symptom. That's just a symptom of deprivation. Like, what does somebody who's been starved do the first time they sit down at a buffet? They're going to overeat. And it's not their fault. It's not a flaw in who they are or their character. It is a response to the experience that they've been in. It's simply a symptom. And again, this is that self-awareness of seeing all these parts of yourself and not judging them, just understanding them. Seek to understand yourself and the scales will balance. The energy will flow. The money will come and you will be able to give in just the right amounts and in just the right circumstances. The wind will turn in your favor, I just heard. The wind will turn in your favor, and the February winds are gusts blowing. And I heard the bucket will be turned upright, and they're showing me this wind blowing into the bucket and turning it upright. So instead of having it spilled, it will be upright and ready to fill, like that Ace of Cups. Okay. I think that's it. I feel one more. I was going to put the deck down, but I felt this card in my hand calling out loudly, wealth, wealth, wealth. This is what you're meant to have. Why? Because it allows you to take care of yourself. And we also have the month of May. Okay, that was right underneath. May. So February was a turning point, or will be a turning point. May is where you really start to reap the rewards of this harvest, the seeds that you've planted in regard to this spiritual development, this awareness you've gained, the understanding you have now that you didn't have before. I'm hearing May the 4th. That's Star Wars reference, but also May 4th. May the 4th be with you. I feel like you've spent enough time alone to understand yourself a bit better now, group number 1, and it's time to move back into the world again, trusting yourself to know your true intention. I'm hearing your goals made manifest. Your goals made manifest, and they keep pointing me back to the wealth card. This is spiritual wealth and material wealth because they're going hand in hand in this case. And where things felt stuck, stagnant, immovable, you will begin to see that flow. You will begin to see that progress mirrored back to you. Mirror. Look in the mirror. See yourself. Okay, group number 1, that's the message. That's the truth that Spirit wanted you to know today. I hope it was helpful. Just take what resonates and leave the rest, as these are general readings. But I'm sending you so much love for this process of self-realization, self-acceptance, and understanding, and a very fair and balanced mutual give and receive. I love you. And we'll see you in the next reading. Don't forget to check out my new channel where I bring through collective messages straight from Spirit. It's called The Divine Channel, and it's linked in the description box below. And if you guys want to dive deeper here on the channel and get access to exclusive members-only content, we do have 2 tiers of memberships available. The Soul Tribe tier gives you access to the weekly readings that are for members only. They are ad-free, and you get to submit topics, which we choose from on a weekly basis. Tier number 2 is the Soul Family, and this gives you access to additional members-only content, all of those weekly readings, and also monthly live streams with me where we do collective readings, pick-a-cards, personal readings, we connect, we talk about the energy, we enhance each other's spiritual journeys, and we put pieces together to get in a really fun an exciting way. So if you're interested, all of the information for memberships is in the description box below as well. Just click that link and it'll take you to the options. And if not, we'll see you in the next reading, hopefully. I love you again, and we'll see you then. Bye. All right, hi group number 2. Welcome to your reading. You chose the Beaver card. And it's funny because the Beaver has been coming up synchronistically for the past, I don't know, I have a real hard time tracking time, but I think it was for the last 48 hours. No, 24 hours. Time is weird. It's so wibbly wobbly to me, but the Beaver. I actually want to read this from the guidebook. So let me just find it. Okay. So Beaver, hard worker, loyal, tireless, and family first. The Beaver personality is a welcomed sight. These good-natured and dependable creatures have infinite love and enthusiasm for family and express it by way of the earth element, providing a home and financial stability. Although a beaver doesn't usually initiate a project, once started, they'll work steadily for weeks, months, or years to see it through. The Beaver card appears when the task at hand requires your long-term, steady effort. It can also signify that it's time for some karma yoga, selfless service. When in balance, it is happy, meaningful work. When out of balance, it feels useless or worn out. To bring it into balance, physical labor or selfless service. This is interesting because we were talking about kind of the opposite of that, which was self-sacrifice in group number 1. If you came from there, this could be kind of like the other side of it. Or if you feel called there, you could kind of like look at those opposites, and it's an interesting sort of comparison. So anyway, what I was seeing in my head as I was reading was actually a news article about a dam that they had been attempting to build, or like some kind of like a waterway that the city had been attempting to build for quite some time, and it had been on hold, and they were trying to get funds for it, and it was just taking forever. And then these beavers came in and they built it in like a week. It was like, and everyone was floored because they not only did they save the city millions of dollars in investing in this dam creation, but they did it so freaking fast. Like, so even though the guidebook says that it's about working tirelessly for a long period of time, I'm actually feeling more of like a speedy energy here for you. Now, we are getting a truth for you, a very honest, straightforward truth. And we're going to use 2 decks, which I haven't chosen yet. The first deck on the top row is going to be sort of like the really blunt, face forward, no head in the sand, honest truth. And then the bottom row is going to be the compassionate, empathetic truth that helps you to heal or integrate this message. So let me just choose the decks. One sec. Yeah, I do feel that. Okay. Interesting choices. Okay. So Spirit called me to 2 decks. I actually saw this one as the second clarifier deck in group number 1. So again, there's connection there with that reading if you feel drawn to it. If not, don't worry about it. But I saw this deck in my mind when I was doing that reading, and this other deck, which is kind of like a cryptid deck. So let's take a look. I'm going to just set this to the side. What is the sort of blunt, unadulterated, not sugar-coated truth? You got the 7 of Wands reversed with the Mummy. The Moon, the Werewolf. Ooh. 8 of Pentacles, the Zombie. Again, hard worker. You're a very hard worker here at group number 2. But you may feel at times that you give so much of yourself, or you put in so much hard labor or hard effort that it really drains you. And I'm also seeing this mechanism of like, I've worked too hard, and then this wild sort of beast comes out of you, and it's like you kind of need to like offshoot energy or something. It's almost like you work hard and then you play hard to try and balance it out. But you may do things in that play hard state that are more of a subconscious thing and aren't as intentional. I'm hearing the word intellectual. Are you an intellectual? Or that don't use as much of the intellectual mind. They just pointed me to the hatchet in the zombie's skull and the beheaded head. So it's like you're not able to use that front part of the brain that's all about rational decision making, and it's about the conscientiousness. So it's like you're really, really hardworking, but then you kind of need to, or you feel the need to at times, shut off that part of the brain because it's like you've been using it too much. Okay, interesting. And what do you need to know about this? The 6 of Pentacles. Yeah, this is selfless service. Selfless service. And the 8 of Swords. Pegasus, though. That's a nice energy for the 8 of Swords. It's a little bit of a change than the normal 8 of Swords. I'm hearing something about typography. Okay, whatever that means. So I see that you're like a really grounded, practical person. I don't see a lot of like pie in the sky. You know what? Honestly, I gotta say, I don't see a lot of optimism here. Okay. Again, this is like the blunt truth line, so take it with a grain of salt. But there's, you're the salt of the earth, so, everything comes with a grain of salt for you. This is what it feels like, though. It's like you're so grounded and so practical sometimes that it's like too much. And you may feel as though things just don't make sense. I'm getting this energy of like, why am I even doing this? And does this even matter? And you're working so hard at something to accomplish something, maybe you're even on a time limit because they're showing me a time lapse of these beavers building that dam again. And it's like, maybe you feel pressured, or you're just in this like perpetual state of work, 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 work. And it's hard to kind of take a break, or it's hard to let yourself see the bigger purpose in all of this. And maybe this is why they're recommending, I'm hearing sacred service. This is why they're recommending service to others in some way, giving back in a way that you expect nothing in return. And ideally, that doesn't really feel like work. But that may, to this side of you, feel completely unreasonable. I don't know why I'm getting that. Like, it feels like why would I do that? I work so much. I don't have anything left to give just randomly. But this is the key here, is that this truth is that if you were able to give in ways that didn't take from you quite as much, and you didn't expect anything in return, there would actually be a lot more satisfaction. And that is payment in and of itself. That satisfaction, whether it's a dopamine hit or it's a serotonin hit, or it's like that warm fuzzy feeling you get when you do something good and somebody's happy and you're just happy for the fact that they're happy. That actually replenishes you a lot more than going off the deep end here and, turning into all work and no play makes Johnny a dull boy. That hatchet again, here's Johnny. Not ideal, right? You don't want to turn into the werewolf and attack the people you love unconsciously because you're overworked and you're unsatisfied. Feels like being caught in this web, right? But the beaver, part of this is because the beaver, their teeth continue to grow. They just perpetually grow. And so they have to keep chomping on the trees to wear them down. So maybe you have like a lot of energy, and you may feel at times that that's not true because you're using a lot of that energy in these ways that maybe you don't see a whole lot of return on it. But you have a lot of energy and it needs to be put somewhere. So let's get the compassionate truth here for you, group number 2. What is the compassionate truth? I'm hearing something about sidestepping. Sidestepping what? Sidestepping the truth. Have you been sidestepping the truth? Bounteous, generously given relationships and coming together. You will be replenished by giving to others emotionally. And you may be an acts of service or a gift-giving type of love shower, like the love languages. Maybe this is something that you do, or you hold space emotionally for other people, and this is very gratifying for you. But because you're sort of in this builder energy, I feel like it's more acts of service or gifts. And it feels like this is something that maybe you haven't acknowledged within yourself. You haven't seen that side of you. You've put up walls to it for some reason. Why is that? Maybe because people took from you too much. Atlantis, keep the big vision, stay in alignment as you grow. I think an optimistic perspective is really important here because you can get easily trapped into your own head. Group number 2, I do feel this sort of perpetual energy with you. It's almost like it never stops. Maybe your mind feels like it never stops, or your body just has a lot of energy, and or your work feels like it never stops. There's something of this energy that just like never stops. And this may run you down in such a way that it limits or kind of like oppresses this optimism, this sort of like free spirit energy, because you've got all these obligations, you've got this stuff to do, you got to keep working, doing the same thing every day. You need some freedom here, but not the wild freedom of the werewolf. That's what I'm saying. Because that doesn't actually vibe with you. You're such a loving, generous, caring person that to be in that werewolf energy, it's harmful. It's harmful to yourself. It's harmful to others, even if you don't see that. Whereas when you balance the work you feel like you need to do with the work that you want to do, what brings you joy, everything everything heals. Yeah, there's so much healing here. Rejuvenation, recovery, time to heal. It's safe to stop. Ooh, it's safe to stop. That perpetual energy, it needs to stop sometimes. So maybe you need to find a way to just be still. And not just physically, but emotionally. They're showing me a still lake, a placid lake, smooth glass-like surface, no waves at all. Just let it settle. Let your mind settle, let your heart settle. Because then you'll be better able to feel the truth and know where to put that endless supply of energy that you do have. It's a gift, but in this case, it may have shown up as a little bit of a curse as well. That's usually the case, isn't it? Blessings and curses, they kind of come together. It's a double-edged sword. But when you understand the nature of this, productivity is actually the word they're giving me, something about productivity, the nature of this energy, the nature of yourself, then you can better work with it and create this healing. Lady of the Lake. Oh my God, I didn't even look. I was not looking at these cards. When I channel, I tend to kind of either look over to the right or to the left, depending if I'm seeing or hearing. And I was looking up and out into the corner of my room. The Lady of the Lake. New beginnings. Something is about to happen. A new way of being. Isle of Avalon, healing, returning to wholeness and transformation. You have so much healing energy here because you're able to give, and I want to say also receive from yourself. Maybe part of this is about working on yourself too. Like if you feel like you constantly have these obligations outside of you that you need to put focus on and energy toward, maybe part of this is relegating some of that energy to yourself too. And not just kind of sitting and doing nothing or letting that werewolf come out. It's more like, what do I need? What do I really need underneath these mechanisms of either going buck wild or sitting and being a lump? It's kind of this is such a weird energy because I'm seeing like the crazy productivity and then the pendulum, that spectrum on either side of it, where you may kind of fall into complete lethargy where you do absolutely nothing, couch potato energy. And then on the other side, going kind of off the rails a little bit and doing too much to compensate. It's all compensatory energy. That pendulum is swinging from one side of the spectrum to the other and never finding its true restful state, which produces healing because it's not being explored. That middle ground is not being unearthed. And it needs to be, because this is a transformation of the self that's ready to happen. I'm hearing it's ready to happen. King, tide, plenty, prosperity, receiving the fullness of life. You output so much energy, group number 2, that you need to receive. It's going to be so healing for you. But to receive, you have to stop. You have to, well, you don't have to stop completely, but you have to slow down. Maybe this is even letting people do stuff for you, letting people do acts of service for you. I'm hearing believing in the world again. The sacred well, replenishment, self-care, giving from a place of plenty. You see the message being so just laid out so clearly here for you. It's all about balance. Giving from a place of plenty. You can't give if you've completely drained yourself of all of this energy. And you will experience the plenty and the prosperity when you're able to open up and receive. And the way you do that, again, is by taking care of yourself. A selfless act of service to the self. When was the last time you did something really, really good for yourself? Like when was the last time that you got a massage, that you bought a massage for yourself, that you went to the park just to sit in the grass and put your feet there, just touch grass, you know? When was the last time that you sat and listened to your inner child? What are they telling you? What do they need? When was the last time you did something just for you and not something indulgent in that werewolf energy, but something that genuinely is healing for you, that's really good for you, that's like productive in this self-care sort of arena. That's what's going to free you. That's what's going to get you out of this pattern of going too far in either direction. And you're going to be able to walk that middle path where everything is balanced. You still have all that energy. You still have all these resources. You're still able to give. But you're also able to receive from others and from yourself. It all balances out. And this faith, I'm hearing something about faith in humanity restored. Maybe that seems exaggerated, but this is the energy that I'm getting. That your faith in humanity is restored because you are no longer running yourself ragged, doing something that you don't enjoy, or doing it in a way that completely deprives you of this self-connection. And then you're going to see how satisfying and how healing and how beautiful it is to give, truly to give, just because you can, and because, more importantly, because you want to. Because you have enough to. All right, group. No, they want me to close out the reading with some tea leaf cards. We'll get the bottom stack. I'm getting earth sign energy from this group, whether or not you're actually an earth sign. It's like that very practical, taking care of the basics of life. You know, the house is clean, the work is done, the children are taken care of. There's always the relationships. It's just kind of like your like to-dos are never ending. That's what the vibe I'm getting. You got to put yourself on that to-do list. You've got the flute, disappointment in a friend or lover. Maybe this is what kind of disillusioned you. Made you lose faith in humanity, that people didn't show up for you in the way that you showed up for them. Victory in some endeavor, but you will, I'm seeing, oh, that's interesting. I've never seen that from this card. In the background, it almost looks like a tightrope. And that's actually an analogy I use with my friend Michaela when we're talking about walking the middle path. It is a little bit like walking a tightrope. You have to maintain balance. And you need that counterbalance. So it's not about completely depriving yourself of the either side of the spectrum, the self-indulgence on either side, or the overproductivity. It's about being able to equal parts them so that it's not too much of one thing or another. It's about moderation. And clouds, temporary problems. I'm going to get one more. Oh, they said head in the clouds. They showed me the clouds over here. Head in the clouds. Is this something you fear that you'll become? Or do you judge other people for being head in the clouds? Because the energy I get from you is very grounded, very practical. Maybe you feel like giving in this way or taking time for yourself is a pie in the sky type of dream. I don't know. An exciting event. That's weird. When I read that card, I actually heard the Ring My Bell song. How does that go? You can ring my bell, ring my bell. Maybe the lyrics in that song have a message for you. The flute, something about music maybe. What is this talking about? Quill, get back to basics. Basics are like here, in this case, taking care of yourself. There's some kind of an exciting event that's coming as you victoriously overcome some kind of a temporary problem. The clouds clear and you're able to see something very, you're able to see it in a new light, in the light of day, rather than that werewolf energy that only lurks in the night and keeps you in that state of fear or confusion. So you're returning to wholeness here after a period of disappointment and disillusionment. It's like your faith is being restored. I just keep feeling that, like your hope, your faith, your optimism are being restored. And that dark sort of anthropomorphized part of the self as the werewolf here or the zombie is being addressed. It's being seen. And it's healing. It's time to heal that. These are shadow archetypes of the self, and you're starting to understand that, see the bigger picture, and grow from these experiences. They're saying outside the boundaries. Oh, Seven of Wands, that can be about boundaries. Yeah, you're growing outside the boundaries of your current comfort zone. That's what I'm trying to say. Growing outside the boundaries of your current comfort zone. Yes. And it's going to be so worth it on so many levels here, group number 2. So I will leave the message at that. Wait. They're telling me to go back to the Beaver. Family first. Make sure that you are, I think it's kind of the same message. Making sure that you're in balance, that you have a sense of purpose in what you're doing, that you're able to give to people and receive. Oh, they just said take a break. That was the last thing they wanted me to say, take a break. They want you to take like some vacation time or something. When was the last time you did that? And even if you did, was it really healing in the way that you needed it to be? Something about that. Okay, I'll leave the message there, group number 2. I hope it resonated. Just take what resonates and leave the rest, as these are general readings. But yeah, I hope that it was helpful in some way. Thank you for being here on the channel with me in these readings, sharing in this energy, diving into these topics. If you're interested in diving even deeper, we do have memberships available. There's 2 tiers that you can access. The Soul Tribe membership level gets you access to ad-free weekly pick-a cards where you can submit topics. And the Soul Family tier gives you access to that, additional members only or Soul Family only content, and the live streams once a month with me as well, where we really dive into smaller group topics, personal stuff, and we really kind of work together to unravel some of these collective messages too. So if you're interested, you can check that out in the description box. The link to become a member is there. Don't forget to check out my second channel. It's my new channel, and we bring through collective messages from Spirit there. It's called The Divine Channel. The link is also in the description box below. Thanks again for being here. I love you, and we'll see you in the next reading. Bye. All right. Hi, group number 3. Welcome to your reading. You chose the bee, or you were drawn to the bee. I'm seeing something about magnetism. Kitty just started meowing in the background for confirmation. Magnetism. Okay. So something about this truth is something you've been drawn to, but also like you're being pulled to. Do you know what I mean? All right, so we're going to get a row of cards at the top from one deck, and that's going to kind of be the harsh truth or the unadulterated truth, the blunt truth. Yes, Kitty. There she is. Kitty's got a truth to share with you guys. Come here, baby. Hi. What? Yeah, that's okay. Okay. And then the bottom row is going to be the more compassionate truth, the empathetic truth, and the healing truth. We're going to use those in combination to bring through this whole truth to you. Okay, so let me choose the decks. I am seeing this one over here. Actually, these 2. Oh, okay, that's easy then. Nice. Ugh. Come on. Whoops. Okay. So the deck we're going to use for clarifiers is just a mini version of the Rider-Waite, the Radiant Rider-Waite, I think it's called, or maybe it's just regular. And then the Dragon Tarot deck for the main truth, or the sort of blunt truth. I don't want to say harsh, because I don't think it's going to be harsh. It's just kind of like the direct truth. So you have the Sun card reversed. The sun and the bee, these are such bright, lively energies. Again, I'm feeling magnetism here really strongly. What is this that we're talking about? The 9 of Swords reversed. Clarity of mind, thoughts, negative thoughts versus positive thoughts. 10 of Cups reversed. 6 of Cups reversed. Oh, childhood and looking back on the past through a sort of distorted lens. That's what I'm seeing. Okay. The 5 of Swords. Yeah, reversed as well. Looking back, nostalgia is not always accurate, is it? Whether it's nostalgia for something, a time long gone in the past, or this is like a memory of the past, that is, it's like you're misremembering it somehow. Why? Okay, we have the Hierophant and Judgment underneath. The Hierophant. Now this I'm gonna take note of this, because when I pulled these decks out of the little basket that I have on the left-hand side there, this one other card fell out and I wasn't going to take it. But now that I see the Hierophant here, this is relevant. Monk or Nun. And this is from the Past Life Akashic Oracle. So this could be from the past in this life, or from a past life where you were literally, the Hierophant is the monk, the priest, a monk or nun. What are you meant to know about this? I just split the deck and the Eight of Swords was right there. And so every single deck, or every single group has gotten the Eight of Swords. And for those who aren't into tarot or don't know the meanings, the Eight of Swords is a card of being trapped in your own head. It's like limiting beliefs, self-limitation, fear. It can even be sometimes paranoia, especially with the Nine of Swords here too. The Nine of Swords is like where it's really escalated and it's become like full-blown anxiety or fear, worry, that kind of thing. But the Eight of Swords is like you're kind of stuck in your own head and you're not seeing the solution to a problem, or you don't see the way out of something. You feel trapped, you feel stuck, you feel stagnant. So something from the past, the ladder is standing out to me. Something from the past needs to be, you need to rise above it in some way, or it's connected to this ascending path for you. But you first need to see it. Judgment can be about resurrection, like calling something from the past back into this current state of being so you can reckon with it. Like, this feels like a reckoning. Like, look at these cards. Look how intense they are. This is a reckoning of this past life, this past version of you, something from childhood maybe. But it's uncomfortable, and it's like you've been maybe hesitant to deal with the sting of that. Like it's all sweet and flowery and I'm also hearing peppery. Okay, so it's sweet and flowery, but then there's pepper. And it's like, what? That's a little bit harsh. So there's something from the past that needs to be healed. Now, what are we talking about here in regard to the healing of this? Ace of Wands reversed. Why is all of these cards reversed? Yeah, no, they're not. They're not completely upside down. Just all these cards are reversed. And I'm reading these reversals again as like past energy. Deep. I heard deep past. Okay, yeah, this is definitely past life related. Deep past. Or unconscious stuff from childhood. Or I think both, right? Because it usually carries over. We don't just have a past life and then it stops. It feeds into the current lifetime. And you've somehow been magnetizing this to you because there's some work you need to do with that. Or maybe you were in a position of service or work, like, the monk, the nun, the Hierophant in that past life. And there's something about it that you need to understand. Page of Cups. There's something about it that you need to heal. Yeah, they're saying perspective shift. Perspective shift. What is this perspective shift? Oh, it really flew. Really, really flew. Two of Wands. Well, he's surveying the land. Like he's looking at the world is in his hands. He's got these options and he's needing to make a decision about which path he goes or which direction he's looking to journey in. Something is in your hands. They're just drawing my attention. He's holding the stick. He's holding the cup. He's holding the wand. Something is in your hands. You've been holding on to it. Oh, right. You've been holding on to the past. Okay. You've been holding on to it. And it's almost like you've needed to for some reason. Why? Why have you needed to? The Knight of Pentacles reversed as well. Because you didn't want to lose it. It's like the second you put it down, it's gone forever. At least that's how it feels. But that's actually not the truth. The truth is that you can't lose anything. Because, first of all, the material realm is an illusion. You can't take it with you. The spirit realm is the eternal life. That's the real reality. And that comes with you. So you can't lose it. Maybe you don't want to forget it, but in being attached to it or holding on to it, not being able to let go of it, whether it's because it was disturbing or because it was really pleasant, I'm not sure yet. I still need to kind of dive a bit deeper into this energy, but it feels like the holding on is out of fear of losing whatever this is or whoever this is. Oh, whomever. Interesting. But everything is stored in the Akashic record, the library of all creation. Everything you do, everything you experience from lifetime to lifetime, it's all stored there. It's all imprinted there. So it doesn't go away. Even if you don't have conscious awareness of it, it's still there. And it's coming up now for a reason. Like the reason Spirit wants to talk about this is so you can let it go, so you're not subconsciously hanging on to it anymore and allowing that to take up space in your heart or in your mind or in your energy or your vibration. Look at that. 9 of Swords again. You got this twice and both reversed. Very significant. Letting go of the past. I keep hearing that. Letting go of the past, because there was some kind of, I hear, okay, thank you. They said unfinished business. It's like, instead of becoming an earthbound soul and forever walking that lifetime as that ghost of the monk or the nun, you reincarnated, but you're still carrying the ghost of that lifetime with you because there was some unfinished business. What was the unfinished? They're saying a son. Oh, a son. Lost a son. The sun, literally the sun. Oh my God. Monks or nuns aren't supposed to have children, are they? I'm hearing something about the Pope. Oof. And the 10 of Swords. Oh, okay. As soon as I turned this card over, I heard died in battle. And they're showing me a pointed silver helmet. You know, like those kind that kind of look like a bullet. Oh, maybe it was in night times, or maybe it was in times where they had guns. I don't know what that symbolism is meant to represent, or the timeline, or maybe this happened multiple lifetimes. Sometimes when we get into karmic patterns, it can loop back on itself and we can experience the same thing but in a different time period with different people, or even sometimes the same souls. Okay, so you're trying to heal this now. You're trying to you've been subconsciously unearthing this, is what Spirit just said. Subconsciously unearthing this. Look on the bottom of the deck, the Ace of Pentacles and the King of Swords. You've literally been digging this up and trying to find it so that you can bring it to your conscious mind, so that you can finally understand and let it go, and or at least like not have it hold so much weight in that subconscious realm for you, in that territory of the mind, because it's been quite heavy. And I see this a lot, right? I've done a lot of past life readings. That was primarily my job for several years. I did a lot of Reiki healing and Akashic readings for people. And a lot of stuff that we worked on was past life, especially clearing past life patterns that were still playing out in how we respond and react in our current lifetime. Because that's really the point of it, right? Like, there's no point in clearing out something from the past that's not directly affecting you in your present life. Maybe there is, but in this case, it's not really relevant. It's really only needing to be cleared because it's continuing, because it's affecting you now. And I was talking to a friend yesterday about how healing the present actually does have a ripple effect into the past. So by healing in the present, you actually do kind of change the past in a sense, because time is not linear in the way that we perceive it. It's all happening in the ever-present now. So this past life is not actually happening in the past. It's a parallel life, but from your vantage point, it's coming from the past. And it's funny because I mentioned that I grabbed these decks from the left. For the other two groups, I grabbed decks from the right. I've got decks on both sides of me and a bookcase beside with all sorts of different decks. But I grabbed from the left, and the left in tarot and card reading represents the past. past, present, future. So you've been calling this forth so that you can get some kind of closure here, so that you can reconcile with it, you can understand it. Maybe it's about forgiving yourself for the loss of a child or the relationship dynamic between you and a child. Oh yeah, they said killed in battle. They just reminded me of that. Because when I'm channeling, sometimes it's like the information comes into my head and then it goes out the other side, like a sieve. And maybe that's why you've been holding on to this too. It's kind of like you didn't want to lose this energy because there was this attachment to this, to whatever happened here. Oh, I see. Okay, they said son died in battle. You were away from home when this happened. And then you went on to join the priesthood. Okay, and they said to find reconciliation with the Lord. So on some level, you blamed yourself for your child's death, and that's why this has been in your hands for so long, because you felt like it was your responsibility, obviously as a parent, to care for and keep safe this child, and you weren't there for side. I'm not sure why you weren't there. They say you went off on a journey. And they're saying self-exploration. So you went off on a journey of self-exploration. But then while you were away, some kind of battle went down and your son ended up dying. I don't know how old he was or what the circumstances were. That's just what I'm getting is like the basics of it. The kind of the bare bones overview. But you on some level blamed yourself for that, and you were seeking divine grace or understanding. Yeah, they're saying through prayer, trying to connect with the reasoning behind this and seek forgiveness for this, to assuage this guilt, this deep regret, and this self-blame. So how could this show up in your current life? Well, attachment or fear of letting go of something or someone, of people in general, overprotectiveness, this could show up as. Okay, they did just say something about false piety. And I don't mean false piety as in like faking it. I mean like kind of being intensely humble to try and pay off this karmic debt that you feel like you owe. They're showing me somebody self-flagellating, like the monk in the Da Vinci Code when he's got that whip, the nine tails whip, and he's whipping himself on the back. It's seen as like this penance, but you don't have to pay any penance here, group number 3. You just have to let this go. You have to forgive yourself, though. That's the key here is you have to forget. They said, okay, I didn't mean to say that. I meant to say you have to forgive yourself. But when I'm channeling, sometimes it'll just butt its way out of my mouth. You have to forget. It's time to let it go. And they're showing me somebody, oh my God, my heart. Okay, hold on. They're showing me somebody dropping something, a coin or something small. I can't tell what it is, something small into the water and just watching it drift down until you can't see it anymore. Like you've just got to let it go. Lay it to rest. Lay him to rest, they just said. Sorry, I'm just really feeling this energy through my body. Let your soul be at peace. Let this go. Let your soul be at peace. They're just saying that. You have worked hard and endured much. You are in need of rest of the spirit. You are freed. Okay. I hesitated to say that. They said you are freed as you face your own demise. Now, I don't think that this means your own death. It's like you're letting go of this part of the self and it feels like a death, and they're showing me a funeral. You didn't get to grieve because you weren't there. You didn't get to grieve. You didn't get to have the funeral. Like you missed it all in some way. And it's time for you to finally get that closure. Give yourself that closure. Because it feels like, even though this was a son, it feels like a part of you died right along with him. And you never got to honor that part of yourself. And maybe this is how it shows up in the present life, as like there was a part of your inner child that died in childhood. And the magic or the sweetness of life, the honeybee, the sweetness of life was taken away. And you never got to grieve that. And they're saying, have compassion for that part of yourself. Oh my God, they just showed me how the 2 lifetimes overlap. And they were showing me that the loss of innocence in this lifetime was an attempt at penance for the loss of the perceived loss of the innocence of the child of yours that you had in this previous lifetime. It's like you're trying to pay off that debt. And so you wrote up this lifetime to have a situation where your innocence was going to be stolen or taken away, or you'd have to sacrifice it really early on in life. Maybe you had to grow up too fast, or you went through something traumatic at a young age. Whatever it was, it's like you lost that pretty early on and didn't have the time or the capacity or even the awareness to be able to grieve it. And this was an attempt unconsciously to make amends for what happened in the past life. And Spirit is saying, you don't need to do that. You never needed to do that. You just chose that because you thought that's what you needed to do. But Spirit, God, the divine, doesn't require penance from you. It requires understanding. It requires you now to, through this understanding, forgive yourself and let it go. To love yourself and to know that there is no death. There is no ultimate demise because we're immortal beings. We are infinite. We are a spirit. The Page of Cups is you. They just said, the Page of Cups is you now. That boy, that child, that son lives within you. He is you now. Love him. Forgive him. Be kind to him. Be a good caretaker. A good father, a good mother to that part of you. That's all that's required. That's all that's ever been required or needed from you. So face this truth in the knowing that the sweetness that is coming from this will be bountiful. And that no more will you have to suffer in shame, regret, or self-blame for this pattern that left you feeling personally accountable. It's time to let that go. And they're showing me the coin dropping again. So I do think that it was a coin that was dropped into the water. And now they're showing me how in ancient times they would put coin on the eyes of the dead as payment for the ferryman to carry you across the river Styx to the afterlife. 1 coin. They said 1 coin. Interesting. Why 1 coin? I don't know. But you're meant to drop that in the water, let it go. That's the only payment, is just to let it go. Oh my God, what a way to end these readings. Group number 3. I mean, all the readings were powerful, but yours is like on a completely another level. 222, as I said that. 222, as I keep looking at the time. There's a balancing this out. 2s are also about harmony in relationships, give and take. And they're saying 2 lifetimes. Okay, right. Yeah, that lifetime and this one, balancing them out. The scales of justice have been achieved. They said the scales of justice have been achieved, and they're showing me them balancing. Oh, okay. Thank God for that. Okay, so I'm sending you so much love here, group number 3. This was an interesting, hard, but also very healing truth. I hope it was helpful. Just take what resonates here and leave the rest. As always, these are general readings, but if you were drawn to this reading, you came here for a reason. Okay, so I'm sending you so much love, so much healing, so much self-forgiveness. Just feel that in your chest right now, opening that up and expanding that for your greatest and highest good and the greatest and highest good of all. I love you. Thank you for being here on the channel and supporting my work. If you want to dive deeper and have even more sort of like personal messages, we do have memberships available where you can access the members only exclusive content ad-free once a week, and you are able to input your topics that you would like to see in readings. We've got a jar that we pull from, and we allow Spirit to guide us into what readings are needing to be done each week. And on the Soul Family tier, which is the highest one, you get access to that, additional members or Soul Family only content and live streams with me, where we connect a little bit more on a personal level. We can dive deep into collective messages, into what you're going through energetically, and what messages Spirit wants to bring through in that smaller setting. So it's a lot more personal. All the information and details are in the description box below. Just hit that memberships link to explore the tiers and become one of the fam. And don't forget to check out my new channel. It's called The Divine Channel because I am a channel of the divine, and on that channel we bring through more collective messages, a lot more esoteric, deep divey, researchy, very puzzly type of stuff, and I love it. So if you are into that, definitely check that out as well. I love you. I appreciate you. Sending you so much love and healing, and we'll see you in the next reading. Bye.